Welcome back, it's your guy Engineer Mojo back again with another car tutorial video. Today I will be doing a AC air conditioning recharge for my 2003 Toyota Tacoma. This process will also apply to 4Runners, T100s, and Tundras, as well as many other car manufacturers because this is a very universal process. Always to get it started off fast, you see the tool list. You just need your AC recharge canister. You can pick that up from your local auto parts store or online. Also, an air vent thermometer or your hand works just as well to determine whether or not the air pumping out from your vents is cold or hot. That should be all you need unless something else pops up during your install. Let's get this started. First thing you want to do is pop your hood and locate the low pressure line for your AC unit. You will have both a high pressure, which I'm pointing to now, and a low pressure, which I'm pointing to, line for your AC. Now Toyota was kind enough to mark the cap with an L to indicate low, but it's not that big of a deal because for your AC recharge canister, the actual grasping cap only fits on the low pressure line, so you really can't mess it up. Here's just a quick clip to show you the low and high pressure lines and caps taken off. As you see, the AC recharge does not fit on the high pressure at all, but it fits right over the low pressure easily, so again, you can't mess it up. The next component on your car you want to find is your compressor. Now you don't need to touch anything here, you just want to make sure that the belt is fine, is intact, that's attached to it, and that the AC clutch, which is that outer part to that, there's no kind of damage or anything that's visible to you. Here's a better angle from underneath. That's the clutch on the outside. Now this does not spin when the AC is off. When the AC is on, that should spin. That's an indicator that your line is fully charged or at least partially charged. I'm going to show an example of that right here in a little bit. As you see, I'm turning on the car. And I've actually, at this point, I have pressed the AC button and turned it on. As you see, the clutch is not spinning. The outside part is not spinning. So that's not a bad sign. It's not good or bad. It just means that either my AC compressor is not operable or that the system is so low with refrigerant that there's not enough pressure in the lines to actually spin the clutch. But the positive here is I know that the belt is fine, looks fine, there's no squeals or anything like that. And I will go ahead and start the actual recharge process with the canister, and hopefully that pressurizes the system and starts engaging the clutch. Now it's time for the actual recharge. You want to hop in your car, turn it on, turn the AC to high, turn it to the coldest setting as well. In this little clip I didn't turn it all the way to high, but yeah, you want to turn it all the way to high. And then you can go ahead and actually start going back underneath the hood and put the AC canister on the low pressure line. You want to attach the line to the low pressure for your AC line. Then you want to read the gauge once you turn on the car. This gauge will tell you the actual pressure of your refrigerant line for your AC. Now with my car on, the pressure in the line was absolutely zero, really low, which is what I expected since I didn't see the clutch engage on the compressor. At this point, you can actually prepare the recharge canister to recharge your system. If you notice here, there's a red tab on this canister right below the gauge. You want to unscrew the top of the gauge, remove that red tab. Once the tab is removed and the gauge is reinstalled on top of the canister, then when you depress the trigger on the canister, you'll actually be able to recharge the system. Go ahead and give the can a good shake. Now with your line connected back to the low side port, make sure to hold the can upright at about a 12 o'clock position before starting the charge. Squeeze the trigger to charge the AC system. While charging, shake the can up and down a few times, alternating between 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock positions approximately, and then every 10 to 15 seconds release the trigger. This will allow you to check the gauge and the pressure in your line on the gauge, and then if it's still low, you can go ahead and repeat this same process. 12 o'clock, shake a little bit, squeeze trigger, alternate between 12 and 3, every 10 to 15 seconds, release the trigger, and so on and so forth until the pressure reads in the green zone on the gauge. At this point, the gauge was in the green, but I hopped back in the car to test it out. My AC still wasn't really cold, so I went back underneath the car, looked, and this is what I saw. Oh my clutch is spinning, yes, which is good, but there's a little bit of a stutter, which is not good. So I had pressure in my lines, but it was a false reading. With a little investigation, I found out that my idler pulley was faulty, so I went back underneath the car, placed the idler pulley with a little help from my trusty friend, and everything was good to go. retested the AC compressor, recharged it, actually had good compression, good charge. Used the good old back of the hand to test whether or not the AC was cold or hot. It was cold and blowing good. Now that brings the conclusion of this video. As always, thank you for watching, and more importantly, if you have any tips, please put those down below. Definitely thank you for any tips. This will make it easier in the future if I ever do this again, which I'm sure I will. That's much appreciated. I'll catch you on the next video. I'm out.